Rico, what a privilege to have you back on the From Nowhere to Somewhere podcast. I thought it would be really nostalgic, seeing as you've done 3 fights with Jimmy Sweeney to make it the Trilogy, and you're the only person I've ever had on the podcast to make it a Trilogy too. So thank you for agreeing to do this and giving me the exclusive rights to the first conversation after becoming European champion. Firstly, I'm so proud of you. I know we only met kind of just over a year ago, May 2024, the first time you came on to my podcast, and it feels like I've become so closely connected to you, your story and your journey ever since. And watching you over the last year develop from where you was then and talk about the dreams that you had, to see them all coming into reality, it just makes me feel like even though I'm not a part of it, I feel like on the outside I'm like, come on. And I remember watching that fight with my son, and I'm shouting at the TV and I'm buzzing and watching it. So thank you so much for joining me, and well done to what you've done. Let's look back over the last 12 months. So the first conversation you and I had 12, 13 months ago to now, what's been the biggest differences for you and your life?
Difference, I'd say, is just mentally stronger. I mean, the amount of growth I've had since that first podcast we've been on, and the amount that's happened in between that, is just built a lot more mental strength. I'm a different kind of character now, and there's just been so much happening in that space of time. I've had 2 fights, and my health's still bad, but it's just more mental strength, and that's all it is. Just keep building on that and just keep enjoying what I'm doing. So
when we go back to May, we do have the conversation on the podcast. You then go into a fight with Trout in Marbella. What an incredible event that was, with Conor McGregor and all that hype and all that energy, and Nan smoking a cigar in the bar and all of that stuff. And then you come back from that, and then it gets announced that you've got an opportunity to fight Jimmy Sweeney for the Trilogy. How did that come about?
Yeah, so originally there's a guy, the Italian promoter Gabriele, he approached me. He come to Marbella and he said, look, I love the way you fight. We just want gladiators and, real fighting men in Italy, because it's a gladiator historic place. And straight away I just said, look, I want to keep fighting in Europe. So I'm definitely there. You just send me a date, send me a time, send me the contract, and I'm there. So originally, I was getting matched up against some Italian ex-pro boxer, quite a big name in Italy. The fight didn't really happen. So obviously, it didn't happen, but I accepted. I was waiting for the contract, and then they had a problem with his license. If he fought bare-knuckle, he would get stripped of his pro license. So it was probably 14 weeks out from the show, and on that, I think 2 weeks later, I went to Gran Canaria for a holiday. I thought, before I start camp, I like a little holiday, a little reset. So I went away with Gran Canaria with my wife, just to relax, and then next minute I'm getting calls, sorting out fights, and Gabriele said, look, Jimmy can't get an opponent, your opponent's not fighting, so what do you reckon, you and Jimmy have a Trilogy fight in Italy, and we'll make it a European title fight. As soon as he said that, I was like, right, European title fight, Trilogy, show me the money, let's go.
Yeah, would you up for it straight away?
Yeah, I mean, me and Jimmy's done 2 lots of sparring previous, before that fight, about a year and a half before that, and we get on really well. I was actually voice noting him probably 2 weeks before that, saying, we'll have to get a bit of training in, and was on good terms talking. We still are on good terms, but next minute, we get offered the fight, and I just say, let's do it. I spoke to my coaches. It wasn't really a fight was interested in it, at first, but then they offered the European, and then that was it from there. It was a no-brainer.
And why wasn't it a fight that you was interested in?
I mean, just because I come off the world title with Austin Trout, it's Jimmy's debut on BKFC, so even though he's like one of the greatest in the game, he's not had a fight on BKFC yet, so I don't know whether he wanted like a bit of a steadier fight in first. I think that was the plan. Well, he was getting matched up with someone from like America originally. Then we just maybe wanted, I think one of my coaches was like, let's just try and get another fight back in, try and get a win, and then we'll go again. But straight in the deep end again, so 2 hard fights back to back. I'm glad I did it now. I'm glad I did it, especially for the European belt. I can relax now.
So let's just give people a bit of a recap, because there'll be people watching and listening to this that may have never heard of us two, come across this conversation. And I've had the good fortune of having 3 hours of conversations with you on 2 episodes to find out all about your upbringing, your backstory, your health conditions, the challenges that you've been through, the trials and tribulations to just be alive, never mind competing. So let's just go back to that first Jimmy Sweeney fight that you had, and then into what happened from the first fight to the second fight with your colitis, because I think that's really important that people understand what you're going through to be alive, never mind enter a ring.
Yeah, so obviously the first fight I had a full bowel then, so I was suffering with ulcerative colitis and a few other problems. Beat Jimmy Sweeney for the world title after the 8-man tournament, and then after the world title win to the next one, I fell really poorly in lockdown, and then we had 2 major surgeries, ripped my bowels out. Obviously surgeon said you won't be able to fight again, so when they said that, it kind of motivated me straight away just to say, no one tells me not what to do, I'm going to prove you wrong now. So my focus was getting back in the ring. So I rematched Jimmy after 9 months, when it takes about 2 years to get your body immune system back to normal again. But yeah, after I rematched him, I turned up, I put in the work for training.
So you only had 9 months from the first fight to the second fight, or from when you had your
from
bout?
Surgery.
So you had surgery,
yeah,
and then 9 months after surgery, you're fighting again.
Yeah.
And what point after surgery did you manage to get training healthily again, or was it a battle all the way through that camp?
It was a whole battle through camp. After the first 3 weeks after the main surgery, I got rushed in again and had another emergency surgery. So it was kind of like backing off because I was rushing back to training, even though I've just had my bowels ripped out, and I was slowly just like doing bits every day, just every single day, just going out for walks, doing a bit of bag work, and then I just had to slowly do it. And then after 3 months, I was back doing a bit of biking, running. I think I did a sprint triathlon after 4 months after surgery. So I had a lot of time just to bike and just do loads of endurance work. So that was, for me, it was just recovery and just building that base. But yeah, I definitely rushed in a little bit too much because that's just my mindset, and I don't like to back off. But yeah, maybe I did rush in, but I don't regret anything. I just had to do what I had to do.
I remember you saying when you got in the ring at that rematch that you felt victorious climbing into the ring because you'd made it into the ring again, and then realised you looked across, you've now got to go to war with this guy that wants to rip your head off.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I can remember watching it back, and you can see on the video when I get in, and I was buzzing with life, soaking it all up, just being aware of everything, and I got in, I just stood there. You could see on the video, I'm normally pacing up and down. I'm just stood there looking at him like, oh shit, I've got to fight now. So it kind of, as soon as that bell went, it was like, now it's real.
Yeah.
And I wasn't prepared for that mentally. I was not mentally prepared for that fight. All I was mentally prepared was just getting in the ring and fighting, and it was a win to me. I didn't really feel like a loss to me. I never take that as a loss, because I was happy after the fight. No excuses after the fight. I prepared for that fight, and I knew the risks, what was going into that fight. I knew I wasn't 100%, but it's just, I made that decision, so I can't moan about it.
So you have the fight, you lose the fight, and then how was your health after that?
So I had that fight. I ended up, I think that was like back end of the year, September, October. I ended up fighting again in January in America, so I rushed back in again. Still at this point, gyms weren't properly open, so I was just training in my garage and stuff like that, and I ended up going out to America and fighting on a different promotion, BYB, and there was different rules. It was like you were allowed to clinch in there. It was 3-minute rounds, and I lost again. I boxed really well in the first, and then I lost. I come back and I was like, I need to go again, and then people around me were just like, look, you need to just back off. You took a lot of trauma. You're not even recovered from surgery. So the best thing I did was set this place up. In that time, between that American fight and then the next fight was about a year. So I had a year to set this gym up. I had a lot of time recovering the brain, just recovering my health, and I got back into full swing after that. And then I had the BKFC debut.
And how ironic that we sat in your gym, in your ring, doing this Trilogy podcast. So you set this all up in between your fighting journey.
Yeah.
So is this part of your next steps in your future then, or is it something that is like a predominant fixture in your life right now as well?
Yeah, it's both. This is my life now. This is my home, and we've built a great community-based gym, and everyone's coming around, getting the kids off the street, and I love seeing the progress. People coming in, they've never done any boxing before, and they've never thrown a punch, and then next minute they're stepping in the ring in front of people, and they get to experience, like, you know, boxing in front of everyone, and just, it's crazy. And that for me is that's what I love, seeing people just achieve the goals, and I can help them on the way as much as I can. But still, it's down to them to put in the work. And
yeah.
Such a friendly gym. The atmosphere is amazing, and I just want to keep. It's not even just about fighting in this gym. We have people in here just for mental health reasons. People just want to train, just to clear the demons every day. They get a bit stressed through the days, and they come in, just hit the bags, and everyone comes in. A lot of people message me saying they're intimidating coming in, which is understandable, but when they come in and realise how friendly it is and everyone helps each other, there's no egos in the gym, no bullies, and that is one of the main things, one of the rules I like. I mean, everyone follows the coach, and whoever runs the gym. You go to a lot of gyms, there is a lot of bad egos, and it's not really friendly, a lot of gyms, where I just want to create that nice atmosphere.
There was that video recently, weren't there, of that young lad that came in, was it a couple of years ago? And he was carrying a lot of weight.
Yeah.
And then there's a video of him now.
Crazy.
Super lean and ripped and physically.
Josh Jones, he's called. Yeah. He come to me in lockdown doing a few PTs, and it was, you got a few problems, like, mental problems at the time. And even he said how much he was struggling, like really overweight. Next minute, consistent every day, just training. Then since I set this gym up, I think he was here like nearly every day for a year or something.
Really?
Every day for a year. And he's in with, I don't know if you know Paul Cook, Cookie?
Yeah.
He's in with him once a week, so he's giving him like a bit of a strength plan, nutrition plan. So both helping him as well. Paul's helping, I'm helping him. And he's putting in the work, and he's lost loads of weight. He's had about 5 fights, 6 fights.
Incredible.
So yeah, it's good to see.
Oh, well done that you're giving kids of the community an opportunity to express themselves and to do something meaningful as well, and turn up, keep fit, healthy. It keeps them on the right track, doesn't it? And they must love it when 1 minute they're watching you, in here, the next minute you're on TV on the Conor McGregor show, and then you're over in Italy fighting in the Trilogy fight. What's it feel like when you go off to them fights and then you come back? Do you notice the energy in the gym because of what you look around all the walls of the fights that you've had, the belts that are behind us?
Yeah.
What's it feel like when you come back?
The energy's amazing. I mean, when I went to Marbella and I went to Italy, I brought half the gym with me. So I brought 50, 60 people out to both shows in Europe, which is a lot of people. It's a lot of money. So that support with all the, like I say, it's a friendly gym, and everyone supports each other, and they all come to support me out there. And the energy out there is amazing. Then when we come back, it's just obviously, they're just buzzing to see me, and then obviously brought the bell back, all the kids are buzzing, and it's, the energy just reels off, and it puts it into the gym then, and then everyone's, just motivated.
And it's really interesting that if I described what you do to a total stranger, they can't help get a perception of that individual. Bare-knuckle boxing, fighting all your life, you get that. No wonder people are intimidated to come in because of that. But then when you meet you, what's so fascinating is that you're the calmest, most relaxed, humble, down-to-earth person you could ever wish to meet. And then you go through them ropes and you turn into this ferocious, formidable competitor. And when I looked at your build-up to the Jimmy Sweeney fight, you and him are having meals together, with your families and having photographs. And so how when you're fighting someone, and then a few weeks out, you're fighting them, how do you stay comfortable in their company, knowing that in a few weeks' time you're going to be going to war with them?
Yeah, so obviously we went out to Italy for a press conference 10 weeks before, and Jimmy's wife and kids were there, my wife was there, we had food together, we was talking, we had the weekend together, and we got on really well. And we got on well then, was just like, look, it's all business, we're going to punch each other's face, and then we're going to shake hands, and that's it. And as it's getting close to the fight, we was messaging each other now and again in fight camp, to be fair, just a few bits, but I try and avoid it and switch off. I don't look at anything on his socials. I try and just switch off from everything, just concentrate on myself. And obviously when we went to Italy a week before the fight, we bump into each other, say hello, but I kind of just keep my distance just until that fight's done.
Yeah.
And obviously, press conference, weigh-ins, you know, we still have that respect, but we've both been in this game a long time. We're both professionals and we know how it works, and we both know it's just business. There's no shit talk between us. Both professional mates, and you know, we can kind of switch off from that friendship and just stick it on each other. And
what's it like, Rico, that week when you go out there building up to the Trilogy fight with Jimmy Sweeney? What's it like that week there? Are you starting to like go isolated, go into your own thoughts, or are you still friendly and outgoing, or do you start to become really introvert in your behaviours? What happens?
Yeah, slowly you get into that zone. It's like a week. It's a week's process, so you're doing like a weight cut, but then you slowly, as the weight cut gets harder and harder, and you're getting slowly there, it's like your mind is starting to get more tunnel vision, locked in. I mean, you're locked in all the time, but when you're not training, you're out and about, you're still disciplined, but you're having a laugh with your coaches, your cornermen, you know, your team. And obviously, Danny Mitchell as well, like he's there, he's always joking about, for me, I like having a laugh.
Yeah.
I'm not too serious. I'm obviously strict, serious with the discipline and everything, but obviously when it comes to being around my team, we all have a good laugh. But as it gets closer, when that weigh-in's done, that's when it's business. Obviously, that weight cut is quite daunting. Obviously, the whole team's there. You're in the sauna for hours. I think I did about 5 kilo in sauna after the press conference. Was there till about midnight, and then we got back. I woke up on weight. We weighed in.
So 5 kilograms. So
yeah.
What's that? So like 10, 11 pound or something.
Yeah.
In that one day.
Just in about 2 hours.
So you had to lose that.
About so many hours after the press conference. Probably did about 4.5 in the sauna, and then went to sleep, woke up, and that was 5 kilo done. But in that process, obviously your team are just helping you, getting out of the sauna, dragging you in and out. And it's a rough deal, obviously, that weight cut. And then you weigh in, you refuel, and then you're just getting in that zone. I'm kind of isolated since then. I mean, I have my own room to myself. I like my own space. I just kind of I like my own little routine fight night as well. So I just stay in that tunnel vision zone since weighing in day. Yeah.
So you get weighed in on the morning, is it?
Yeah, Friday morning, official weigh-ins.
And then you fight Saturday night.
Yeah, we do a ceremonial public weigh-in in the evening as well.
Yeah.
That's for the Zone TV and that. And then the next day is a fight day. So you get.
Does your demeanour start to change then from that Friday morning weigh-in to the Saturday night fight? Do you start to have less conversations with different people? How are you with your team around you?
Yeah, my team, we're all the same, because we're all in it together. I mean, if I go to war, my whole team goes to war, and it's the same, vice versa. So they all know that feeling. They're all fighters, so they all know how it goes, and they all know how I work. So if I'm feeling like, if my energy's not right, you know, they'll tell me, and they'll try and do things that they won't obviously tell me in direct, but they'll kind of do things. Especially Danny, my brother. I mean, Deck now, he's been quite a few fights, but my brother and Danny I've known a long time, and they kind of know just how I work. And obviously having that comfort with them people around me helps massively. But yeah, I just think having them people around you makes a massive difference.
Does your wife go out there with you for the week then?
Yeah, no, she comes for just for the weekend.
Yeah.
I have contact. I ring my wife most nights just to check in, see how things are, see how the dog is, and obviously her. But then obviously, I don't have that. I seen her actually after the weigh-ins. I just seen her quick just to say hello. I don't mind that. Before I used to like think, I just don't like that energy. You know, women's like emotion. She gets a bit nervous. So, but she knows how it is now. She's been there on big fights. So the support's amazing off my wife. You know, I wouldn't be able to do it without her. So she knows just to leave me to it. She doesn't speak to me really fight days. Just a few messages, and I'll just say, right, I'm out, let's go, and then she'll just understand. So yeah, we're all in that routine now. Fight day, I've got it perfect, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
So where was your fight day then? Are you in the hotel and you just get, right, we're leaving at this time, off we go?
Yeah, so we have a schedule, obviously, on email from BKFC, and they'll tell you when we're getting picked up, or the venue is literally walking distance. So fight day, I like to have a lay-in just as long as I can. Obviously, just keep refueling up with food, water, and then we went into Florence town to get some food. So I thought, let's just go and chill out and get some nice food from a restaurant. Then we come back and then we just chilled out for a little bit until the time was ready to go. I think 5 o'clock or something like that. We all just, like everyone in reception just walked down. It was like loads of people. And then obviously getting filmed coming in, it was just, it's a really good feeling, you know, getting ready for war.
At what point do you start, or have you already done this, the visualization of the fight? Do you do that still? I know we spoke last time that you play it out in your mind and you think of it, you think of winning. Have you already been doing that, and are you still doing that on the day of the fight? Are you still thinking about, when I step in, what I'm going to do?
Yeah, constantly. This is why I struggle sleeping at night, because I'm there visualising the fight every night without fail. It's the only time I get to switch off and think, and I have a bit of time and I'm just visioning what I'm going to be doing and going through the game plan, going through the ring walk, just going through everything in my mind, lifting that belt up. And then even on fight day, that's one of the, I try and back off the visioning on fight day, because it gets your adrenaline up a little bit. I try and stay clear and try and stay relaxed as possible until we're going to the venue, and then I start warming up, and that's when I'm getting locked in again. Yeah,
it's a great point, because you're using energy, aren't you, all the time when you're getting hyped?
Yeah.
And then you've got to come down and go back up again.
Adrenaline dumps they're killers, yeah. But I think soon as we get like, right, this time we're going to get our bags packed and get walking, that's when you start locking in, thinking, right, we're off to war now.
Yeah.
And it's just that feeling, preparing to go to war. Like, I'm preparing for death. That's how my mind works. Yeah, preparing just to die.
Do you think about that?
No,
I don't. What the consequences could be?
No, not until after, until you're in a lot of pain. But I mean, a lot of people do, but I don't think of that. No, I don't. I already know what they are. I know how bad they are, but it never goes through my mind.
Yeah. So you get there on fight night. What was the game plan this time round, and what did you know you had to do different from last time to this time? I know your health second time weren't where it wanted to be, but was there any big changes that you made technically, tactically going into the Trilogy fight?
Yeah, we worked on a few good shots like that check hook that landed. You know, we worked that, and we worked similar game plan to what the first fight was, just picking my shots, moving my feet in and out, and my goal was not to stand and trade with him. But that went out the window from the first round. So my game plan actually didn't work, just because how I felt on the day. And obviously the week leading up to it, but the game plan didn't go anything how I liked it to go, unless, well, the check up, that's what landed. But yeah.
Why? What happened with the game plan then? What changed?
It was just, I mean, leading up to the fight, I had a few little health problems. I don't like to make excuses, but a few health problems leading up to the fight. I was actually seeing a surgeon 5 weeks before the fight, and the surgeon said, you need surgery. And I said, I'm fighting in 5 weeks, so can I just maintain it until? So we had to do a few things to try and push me intestine back in place, and a few bits and bobs. And I finished off with I had a few good weeks, and then I had bad weeks, and then we turned up to Florence, and I was fatigued, a bit chronically fatigued. I've still got this disease that I'm battling every day. So when you have a bit of, I mean, fight week's always stressful, so a bit of stress causes the colitis to flare up, and with the flare up causes all these other problems, and I felt really flat. I felt good on fight day. I felt good. We got to the venue, we started warming up, and my legs just went dead. I was just flat, and I just got this like fatigueness out of nowhere. Nothing was working. I just had brain fog. My brain was heavy. A lot of people get this, but mine was just, I know what mine was. It was just, it was just what it is what it is. And I got that far, and I thought, let's just get out here and just try and switch on mentally. And it was a hard process, because the way I felt physically, I had to switch on quick, sharpish, because I was meant to be out at 11 o'clock on the zone, and I was out at 10, so we warmed up a bit quicker. I hit a few pads and I was just dead, and I just said to my coach, I said, I feel flat here, and I changed it, and I said, I'm just going to finish in first round. I could feel them, like, they could feel the energy with me, just feeling a bit negative and a bit down, and mentally, I'm never in doubt. I never like our fight or any day of the week. It want to do a fight, and it was just how I felt physically. And we did the warm-up. They said, right, called my name, we're right, you're good to go. And I was like, right, let's go. I was just like, I was in this mood where for Austin Trout fight, I was buzzing, energy. I was just like, let's go, I'm buzzing. This fight, I was like, oh, let's just go. I couldn't be arsed to like even think about it. I was just like, let's just go and have a tear up. My mindset was just have a tear up. My coach Danny was like, this is what he said on the rematch, because you know I wasn't really prepared that well for then, and he kind of was trying to get me in that frame of mind again. Then we walked out. It was just out. Change rooms were here. We walked out to the venue just outside, and we walked into there. Jimmy was in there, and he was waiting on stage, ready to go. Was in this little bit, just behind stage, backstage, and we had about 10 minutes just waiting for the announce, and that was when everyone was just quiet, and that's when you can feel the intensity going up, and that's when I was just having a word with myself, saying, you've got this opportunity, it's not going to come again, so no matter how much you've been in this situation before, and how many times I've been in that situation, it's just, I just know how to get myself out, and you just have to talk to yourself so many times. And as I was getting into the ring, they called my name out, and walking down that ring, and that's when the energy started coming a bit more, visioning it, I was soaking it all up. And then when I got into the ring, I said to my son, this is where you can win the mental battle here. I felt he was a little bit nervous in there. I just felt that.
Yeah.
And I know me, I do a little bit of pacing up and down the ring, so I was like, let's make yourself look big, walk up and down, try and win that little mental battle. And I feel that just gave me a little edge to start with.
Did your energy come back then? Did your legs start to come back?
No,
Fog didn't clear, or
not
did
until
it?
the 6th round.
Really?
No, honestly, I didn't want to be there first round.
Yeah.
We had the first round, and I thought, oh, fuck, I'm just going to stick it on him. And I did. I started strong. People say, oh, you look good. I was like, I just didn't. It was just on autopilot. But my autopilot's just carrying on. And after the first round, I can remember going to the corner going, I'm absolutely knackered. In my head, I didn't want to be there. I could hear my coaches talking, then blanked out for a second, just thinking, what are you doing? And that's when I had to just talk again, try and find something, and just, let's go again. Like, there's no other option. Like for me, I didn't want to be there, but I'm not going to say, just call it a day. I can't do that.
Why do you think you didn't want to be there in that moment?
Just because of how I felt. I just felt heavy, slow, like my brain was just foggy, like nothing. My reactions were just slow, and I just didn't. Obviously, I'm saying all this, but I performed really well. So I always say I perform well because that's just all the training I do in the background. Like when I'm ill, I'm still training. When I don't feel good, I still get up and train. And it's like all that compensates to this fight night. So all the times I didn't want to train, and I did, it's all paid off, because when you feel like shit and you're performing well, I'm just used to doing that.
It's a big difference. That's a great point. That the difference is you don't shirk the ones that you don't want to do. You still do it. So in that moment, it really came to support you. You didn't feel it, but you still knew you had to do what you had to do.
So the training leading up to that as well, like I had some very hard sessions, and it was like, because I knew how ill I was, and I was doing. Even my coach John was doing hills every Tuesday, and I turned up one Tuesday. I said, I'm dead. So John was like, look, you've turned up. Let's just really steady. Let's go up the hills, and we did that, and I felt better after it. But at the time, I didn't want to turn up and train, but after, it's just a habit. I turn up and just get it done, and even when you're feeling crap and feel like that, you turn up and get it done. That's just building that mental edge all the time. So when it comes to fight night, I just know I can just deal with any situation.
There's a great message there for all of us, not just in sport, isn't it? Of the days that you really don't want to, that you, even if it's a phone call or an email, or you've got to do something you really don't want to do, just learning to do things in that moment rather than shirking it. So when you're sat there after round one then, can you hear your coaches talking to you, or is it just in your own thoughts?
Yeah, I can hear the coaches. I'm obviously said a little bit, said, I'm absolutely fucked, and then I just hear my coach, like the firm talking, I was listening to him well, and then I just zoned out a little bit, and then you come back round again, you have a few thoughts, and then you just have a word with your son, and then, you just got to switch on again. It's like, that minute feels about 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And it just goes so quick, and then you're out, next minute you're out again, down to the second round, and yeah, it was a fast-paced fight. It was just non-stop from the first round.
And when you said 5 weeks prior to the fight then, that you was told you needed surgery, what was that for?
So in camp, obviously there's a lot of strain on the body, especially in the abs, and my intestine, the stoma, goes through my abs. So the muscle is a little bit weak there, so I've got to be careful doing abs and stuff like that. So when I was training, there's a lot of strain going on the stomach, and there's a thing called prolapse. So it prolapsed out, and it normally comes out externally, but it come out internally, and it was pushing through the stoma, and it was like a big mushroom effect, and it had all ulcers on it. And I ended up going to booking in with a surgeon, sent some pictures, and I turned up and showed her, and she was like, yeah, it's prolapsing from the inside. It's the blood's circulating, so it's cutting off. So she's like, right, we need a little surgery on this. We can get you in soon as. I just said, look, is there any way I can do it just to get me through this fight? And I actually took a shot sparring on the stoma as well, pre that, and that made it worse, and it tripled in size. And I got to be careful about getting blockages, so I had to have a week off training for that, 5 weeks out, which is crucial time. And then,
what did you do then with your stomach? Because the photograph you show me,
yeah,
it's horrific.
Yeah.
What did you do?
So the only way to treat it is to compress it with ice, and a bit of sugar helps as well. If you put sugar on the intestine, it like draws the swelling out a little bit and reduces the swelling. So
your intestine's actually outside your body,
and then the bag's on top.
Yeah,
just covers it. So I'm in there. laid in bed putting sugar on my stoma, trying to get the swelling, doing everything I can. And
wow.
When I went to see the surgeon, I said, "What can I do to make it go back in?" She just said, "You got to get your finger and push it in."
Wow, is that what she said?
And the thought of doing that was horrendous. So
is it really painful as well to touch?
Oh, it was horrendous. Yeah, it was horrendous.
Yeah.
I mean, pushing it in. There's no nerve endings on it, but when you push it in, you can just feel like inside you. Yeah, it's just not a nice pain.
Wow. And that's and so you got all this hype and all of this, everything's building up for this fight, and
that was a bit of stress. Yeah.
You're trying to work out how to get your body back on track.
And then
no one knew about this then.
No. So yeah, and I didn't tell anyone. Obviously, my coaches, my wife, and everyone. And everyone knows how I am. They know I'm not going to pull out of a fight. And obviously I've got this issue here, and then the disease is still there as well. So the disease, elsewhere where it's at, that's playing effect as well, and it's giving me like migraine down below, and there's a lot of things going on, and it's all that stress building up. That's what's causing it to flare up even more. So you kind of got to control it, and it's extremely hard when you're in fight camp to control that stress and inflammation.
Do you think that how you felt then when you was prior to the fight, with that energy's drained and your legs are heavy, head's foggy, do you think that was like a compound effect of all them challenges over that 5 week?
Yeah, I feel like, the fight camp that I've just been through, that was harder than the fight. I mean, even though the fight was horrendous, I was just in autopilot, and it's like I've done all the work, and it's like I'm just in that autopilot. I'm always in the trenches, and I'm just getting out of it, and it's just natural instinct. So we just whatever happens, we just plough through it.
So you sat there round one. You've got to go out there again. You don't want to, but you do. Was there a point in the fight that you start to feel yourself getting into it, or was it literally on autopilot the whole way through? Yeah,
I mean, natural instincts were kicking in. I was just doing what I'm doing normally, like autopiloting. Second round, I was still going quite strong. I always tend to have a little bit of a gas out in the third round. I always back off a little bit. And it always happens, and it did happen. Jimmy actually switched on more in the third round, and he clearly won the third round. He was putting some good pressure on. I was backing off, trying to get some rest, and we've got another few rounds after this. So after the third round went, that's when he stuck it on me in that third round. Then I had to recuperate again after the third. The fourth round come out, and I got some good advice off the coaches. Back off, let him. If he's running on to me, this is what I like as well. So been working that check hook, and it worked with Caleb Harris, and it worked again with Jimmy, and he fell onto that left hook, and it landed clean, and it was good. It wasn't the cleanest land, but it still punched and knocked him down, and I was buzzing with that, and that gave me that gave me that round as well. So for the rest of the 4th round, I knew I won. So playing it safe, me coach is like, look, just jab move, get on the back foot and just win the round. So that's what I kind of did, pace that last round, that 4th round, ready to go into the 5th again.
And at that point, are you feeling like you're ahead in that fight, or do you know where you're at?
Especially with that knockdown, in my head I was confident I was winning the fight.
Yeah.
I felt I comfortably won round 1. I felt I won round 2. I lost round 3, and coming in after the 4th, I knew I won the 4th with a knockdown. So it was a close fight, because you know, it was a very close back and forth fight, and then, you know, going to the last round, the 5th round, that was when it was all in.
So you go into the 5th round. I mean, yourself and Jimmy, just two absolute warriors there. I mean, it was difficult to watch. It was so brutal. Have you ever been in a fight as brutal as that before?
I've been in some brutal fights. I mean, Jimmy's first fight was brutal. You know, there's a lot of blood. 6 rounds it went. But this fight was just different. I've had a 7-round bare-knuckle fight in the prize fighter final. That was very brutal. But something about this fight, every shot was just landing clean for both of us. Was both taking. It just showed how much we both wanted it, and we're both at a higher level 6 years on. So we've both improved in that 6 years. So the shots are going to be harder. There's going to be a lot more impact, and that was the craziest fight I've been in.
So you do the 5th round, and they call it a draw. You think the fight's finished now because you've done 5 rounds. How do you go from the 5th round you think you've done, and then they go, right, there's another round now to see who decides it? Had you switched off at the 5th? Did you think that was it? Or was you thinking it might be another round?
No, I didn't switch off. That was one main reason was my coaches, they was on it, and all I could hear was Danny going, just prepare for a 6. Like, we think you've won the fight, just get ready for a 6th round. So I think there was about 2 or 3 minutes in between, so we had a little reset and break, adrenaline dump, and then it's like boom, we're back on again. But I just had to just dig in. I mean, my jaw was hanging off, my face was killing. Jimmy's face, his face was swollen. It was like, you've just done a 5-round fight and you think it's done. And then I always train for a 6th round anyway. I know I can do it, and if I know that's going to be the last round, I always finish strong as well. And I know if that's it and it's done, then I'll give it everything. So I think I had that mental edge in that 6th round. I don't know if Jimmy prepared for it or not, but I definitely did.
So you go into the 6th, it's over. Do you believe that you've won there in that moment?
100%. Yeah, 100%. That was probably my best, clearest round I won. I mean, after the 4th round knockdown, I clearly won that last round. It was just, that's where all the fitness backs. You know, when I'm not in camp, still training every day, and that's what does it. You know, when people don't see that hard training. Yeah. But I can remember my brother was like rubbing my shoulders. The camera faced it. You could watch it back on the video, and my face was just a mess. And I just stood there chilling. My brother was rubbing my shoulders like, just get ready, easy work this, easy work. And my coach was bigging it up and like, we'll go again. I was like, yeah. And on the camera he just said, I was like, yeah, I'll do 10 more. I was like, I'll do 10 more.
Is that after the 5th?
After the 5th. Yeah. I was like, I'll do 10 more. That's just how I am. I would have done 10 more.
So you felt mentally you were in it then?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you probably seem to be at best when you're an underdog and you're at war and you're right on the edge, aren't you? You like that unknown territory.
Definitely.
And it was difficult to watch, even if you know, probably because I've got that love for you that I'm watching it and it's so brutal. Me and my son was watching on the sofa, it was difficult. And then obviously when you get the victory, you're pumped, you're buzzing. And then you posted some photographs later on that evening of yourself and Jimmy in hospital beds. What happens after the fight?
Yeah, so straight after the fight, obviously lifted the belt, took the walk back, and normally I'm just like excited. You just had the fight, but I was absolutely just drained. Walking back, I was just struggling to walk back. I was like fatigued. My head started to pound like the migraines. And as I walked through, got to the medical room, and obviously, you know, Jimmy was on the bed. I went on the bed, both getting medical attention, and they're both just like, you know, what people saw in that medical room was horrendous. I mean, Danny's had 1,000 fights, he's been cornering, and he said that was the worst he's ever seen. Everyone was just panicking. you know, blood being spewed up everywhere. They rushed us both to hospital in ambulances, spewing up in ambulances. Both got separate ambulances there, rushed in for a CT scan. Luckily, touch wood, the CT scans come back clear, because, you know, that was one thing I was worried about after the fight. I thought, you know, one of these scans is going to come back bad. I've got a weird feeling. I was in that much pain. And I looked at Jimmy, and I seen him as well, and I was just like, this is bad. It's like, this guy's got family and kids. I said, I was just praying. I was just like praying on the way there. Fingers crossed we'll both come back safe. I can remember I just got some painkillers in this intensive room, and Jimmy was opposite me. In fact, my wife come in to see me just because she was panicking, and then when she went out and left, I looked up and I started to come round, and Jimmy was in the bed above, like next to me, and I shouted one of the doctors to ask him about his scan, and come back clear, and it was like, right, I can relax now. And I was
Had yours come back clear?
Yeah, both come back clear, and it was a nice relief. And I couldn't relax until I got that result back. And
Mate, your face and head looked twice the size, didn't it? Your face.
Yeah, I looked like Quagmire and Jackie Chan in one.
Gosh, it was difficult to look at. It looked like you'd just been pumped up, didn't it? It was so swollen, and
Jaws
couldn't
never
see
done
your
that.
eyes.
Yeah, never been that bad before, after a fight before in my life. That swelling, that left hook he kept landing. Like I say, there wasn't really much technique for me in that fight. No boxing, it was just a fight. Do you know what I mean? It was just a pure fight. And we just I had to do what I had to do in that fight and just dig through. But yeah, it was the worst aftermath after the fight. And then after the intensive bit, they wheeled me into a little ward. And I was in this little ward, and then next minute, Jimmy comes wheeling in. He was fast asleep snoring. And they wheeled him next to me, and I thought, no way, this is mad. It was like Schwarzenegger and Stallone when they just said that on that film. So
did you both chat to each other after, when you was both conscious? Did you talk about things?
A little bit. I mean, Jimmy couldn't really speak properly, and then his eyes were like stuck together a little bit, so he had to peel his eyes back open. My eyes are just shut, like blood everywhere. We were both just absolutely exhausted. I couldn't sleep all night. I was just wired. Jimmy had a right sleep. He was snoring all night, keeping me awake. Then he threw some biscuits on his head. But when he come round, yeah, we was just talking. No, it was like, you know, just a lot of respect there. Especially, I mean, after a battle like that, it's going to be hard not to have respect for each other. I think we've done 16 rounds, bare-knuckle, 3 fights. 2 tough boys, both put it on the line every time. Yeah, and then his coach come in next morning, took that picture. That's what I posted. I thought, it's just, that's a picture for the memory books. That, people don't see the aftermath. Yeah, what we go through. Yeah, I mean, people think, okay, no, you must be getting paid millions for that, and it's like, you'll be shocked at what we do get. To be fair. So yeah, it's crazy. What inspires you then to go again? You know, you and I was talking before this of, you know, the financial rewards aren't there really for the consequences that are there. You know, you're going into these fights that your life is at risk, and it's not just the fight, is it? It's the months, the years of your life dedicated to train. I know you spoke before about your wife Shannon, who financially supported you on the journey and working a full-time job to give you a chance to fulfill your dreams. So what is it then? Is it what keeps that drive and desire there to get in the ring knowing what's going to come? I think it's just the passion, and like I love this game so much, being in the moment, loving the process leading up to the fight, and then you have the fight and you're just being in that moment. You know, it's just you in that moment being alive, and that fight one-on-one, it's like it's the closest to real life fighting you can get. You know, one mistake, it's going to be game over, and it's just the thrilling, like the adrenaline rush you get, and I get to do what I love doing, and I nothing more I love doing than getting punched and giving people punches. It's just an amazing feeling. I've done it all my life, and this is all I know, but you know, doing something you enjoy doing is, you know, there's nothing more better than that. And what comes next then? So we also said earlier, there's not many of them fights you can have until there's problems, or you just don't want to have them anymore because of the brutality of it. Yeah. What you're looking at next? So looking at next, obviously, we've got the European secured. I'd love to fight Austin Trout again. I did message Austin and say, you know, he's still looking at going down a weight after his last fight, and he said, yeah. So he wants to go down a weight class. He don't want to stay in this weight class again. So that rematch is not happening anytime soon, unless I drop down again.
Yeah.
But if he drops down and fights for the 155 belt, he can vacate. Once he wins the belt, he can vacate the welterweight belt. So that'll be open and vacant. So I could be next in line, or it could be some American next in line. I don't know, but I'm number 3 in the world still. There's 2 Americans above me, but obviously I believe I'd wipe them both up straight away, them 2. I'd love to fight in America for the world title. You know, Jake Lindsay or Carlos Snake, I think it is. I'd love to fight one of them 2 for the world title next. Possibly end of the year, early next year. I'm not in a rush. I'm not in a rush, but yeah, it's going to be a big fight next. I'm not in a rush. I'm just going to recover everything, get a few health problems sorted, and then we'll go again.
So if we have this conversation again in a year's time, what will you be telling me that you've achieved over the next 12 months? Maybe not just in fighting, but in your life too.
Yeah, so obviously concentrating on this gym, a lot of health issues. I've actually got to have a couple of surgeries again. So I've got to have that surgery we was on about, and then I've got to have quite a big surgery to remove the whole of the disease. No one knows about this as well, so this was happening before the Austin Trout fight. A lot of health issues again. So I've needed this surgery now for over a year and a half, I'd say, since the Austin Trout fight. So I'm finally going to get that surgery done.
What is it, that one?
So I don't want to go too much into detail, but it's removing the rest of the disease that's in there, because after 2 major surgeries, they removed the whole bowel, and obviously I thought the disease went away, but the disease has come back in somewhere else, so I need to remove that disease now, and once that's done, it should be all clear. If I don't get it done, you know, they keep telling me I need it doing, otherwise it's going to be cancerous, and you know, it's going to be too late. So I think I couldn't relax after the Austin fight, so now I've got the belt, I can relax. And yeah, if I have a loss, I just can't relax. I have to, but now I feel comfortable, have a little break, sort my health out, and I just feel everything happens for a reason. This is like the next step in the career. I'm going to be reborn again. Yeah. I feel like just another story added on. I feel like my career still like just started. It started again. It's ready to go again. So yeah, get this 2 big surgeries out of the way. It's quite a big surgery, 3 to 6 months recovery. So that's probably 2 weeks for me. Yeah. Now I'm going to do it properly. I'm in with a guy, an amazing guy at the minute, doing some amazing nutritional, like crazy diet at the minute, sorting out my food. In fact, he is on here at the minute, Cow's Gold Organic Tallow Skincare. So this guy, a mad little story. So I seen his tallow. I've been using tallow for a couple of years. It's just cow fat and it's natural moisturiser, because I suffer with bad eczema all my life. And I seen his stuff. He started following me and sent me a few messages, replied. And I was actually in Gran Canaria sorting out the Jimmy fight. And he messaged me. He's like, I sent you some products out. I seen you use it. I was like, oh amazing. 100% organic, natural tallow. I was like, let's get it. And he's got loads of different blends, magnesium, honey, raw honey. And we got talking. Next minute, he's like, yeah, I'm a qualified nutritionist and all this. And we got talking more. I was like, he's probably just a normal nutritionist, just like any others. I was like, I actually said to myself, I bet I probably know a bit more than him. Because I know a lot more than a lot of nutritionists. Yeah. I've done that much research about the gut bio and all that, but we got talking and I sent him a diet plan over and he said, you know quite a bit, you know your stuff. And I thought, right. And he sent me this plan over and I thought, wow, this guy knows more. And he was going into detail on voice notes, calls, and he was just specifically just breaking it down. He's like, look, I can reset your whole guts and your immune system and start repairing your stem cells and everything. I was like, this is crazy. But I had 10-week fight camp, so we didn't have time to do the diet plan then. So he just got me through that fight. I came off all my medication I was on. I come off all my medication. I was making my own bone broth every day, 24-hour slow cooking it. Everything was like natural, organic. And then obviously you need your sugars and your carbs. So this is why I couldn't really do the proper diet then. So I was performing the best I could in training, and he did get me through that fight camp, you know, just tweaking the diet. But now the fight's done, he's been sending me all the tallows and balms and everything. And now, since I come back, went on holiday to Morocco, and I was like, mate, I can't relax. Let's get this diet in place. Let's get my guts healed. And we're doing this little fasting protocol at the minute. And I actually just finished a 2-day fast and straight onto the bone broth. And we've got all these little supplements, herbal teas. And I'll tell you what, I feel amazing at the minute. And that's,
so 2 days, so 48 hours?
Yeah.
Nothing?
No.
Just water?
Yeah, so last week I did 2 24-hour fasts, Monday and a Thursday. And then eating normal. I'm eating bone broth, meat and eggs through the day, and a few, like, loads of supplements and stuff, and then not really having carbs.
What's it like, the bone broth, meat and eggs? What's it like?
To be fair, I'm used to it. I mean, it's not bad. I mean, sometimes you get a bit sick of it, and it's a bit rich, like a lot of fatty foods. But it's like the amount of collagen and good stuff, vitamins that are in it, it's just all amazing for your guts. So I've been on this as well, like no carbs or sugar. But I told him I want to do a 5-day fast, so we're building it. We've done 2 days last week, 3 days next week, 4 days, and then 5-day fast, just water and herbal teas.
What's the benefit of 5 days fasting then?
So the benefits are just like you're basically starting to repair stem cells, and you're growing all the tissue that's damaged inside. You're resetting your whole immune system. You're giving your digestive system a break, so everything's having a break. I've got a list of it all on my phone, so when I'm struggling, when I'm fasting, I just look at all the benefits and think, wow, this is really happening. Like clearer skin, my skin's starting to clear up.
Have you noticed a difference?
Yeah, massively. And just even like brain fog, like headaches, I was getting a few headaches. They've like kind of just gone.
What about energy though, when you're fasting? Can you still train when you're fasting?
Yeah, not as much. That's the only thing. You just lack on energy. But after that first day, I felt terrible for the first day. But the second day, I woke up in the morning, I felt brand new. I felt clear-headed. I'm still doing like PTs. I'm still training, but I can't like perform.
Yeah.
But I'm not bothered about performance. I'm just bothered about just getting that nutrition right, everything right for my guts, and then So I've got 3 days next week, so I'm looking forward to that. And obviously, we're doing it, we're planning it for when we have surgery. So I'll have the 5-day fast, reset the guts. So I'm already preparing to recover now for after surgery. So when I have surgery, I'm going to be brand new after 2 weeks, and I'll be ready to fight again. Incredible,
that. So you've come across someone after all this time that's really helping you through nutrition and supplements.
Cow's Gold Tallow, yeah, what a guy.
Where are they from?
He's based in Cleethorpes, this guy. And he does a lot of PTs and he does all nutrition plans himself, but we just kind of got a good connection straight away. We just connected, and he's just like, because I'm interested in learning, and everything he's sent me, he's cost me about £2,000. Ever since, he's just like, right, everything he's sent me, I'm just like, right, buy. My missus is like, what you got on Amazon now? It's like everything's just coming through. So I've learnt a lot with him, great deal, and he's doing all this for free. I'm just promoting promoting the tallow on Instagram and stuff, which is amazing stuff anyway. It's just all natural.
So in Florence then, did you get a chance to be around some of the superstars that came to watch, like Usyk? Who else was there? I know McGregor was there for the weigh-in and a press conference on the build-up? Yeah, so McGregor was there for the 10 weeks before the fight, was the big build-up press conference. He was there promoting that. He couldn't make the actual, he was meant to turn up, but he couldn't make it. He's fighting a war in Ireland, trying to be mayor of Ireland or something, so he was busy doing that. But Alexander Usyk walked in the building, and then that was pretty crazy. I didn't get to meet Usyk because after the fight, straight to hospital, so gutted I didn't get to meet him. I met Andy Ruiz in the weigh-ins day before, and Ruiz and Parker was there at the fight ringside. And straight after the fight, I turned around, and they was both clapping, looking at me, and I looked and I was just like, that is sick, right there. They both just watched my fight with Jimmy Sweeney. It's pretty cool. So. And what was they doing there then? I think they were just there promoting the show and just, wanted to. I think they was in with the promoter Gabriel. He's got some contacts, so bringing these boxing stars in. Just
mix it up a bit, and you know, never know, these boxers might transfer over one day.
Can you imagine Usyk watching you fight and giving you a round of applause? You know,
Bonkers, isn't it?
Legend of the sport.
I never would have thought that, to be fair.
I bet you would have never thought you'd be having a meal with Conor McGregor, would you?
No, yeah. 10 weeks after the press conference, we walked out, thousands of people just there. We're just walking, McGregor and his team, just to this restaurant. So went in backstage this restaurant, just having meals. McGregor's just sat here having a steak with us. So it was, pretty crazy.
And do you have conversations, just chatting? What's it like? Do you talk about fighting? Do you talk about business?
Yeah, just mainly like fighting and stuff. And you know, he'd ask us a few questions about sparring and bits and bobs, and I'd ask him a few. And you know, there's quite a few people in this restaurant talking, so everyone's just talking about fighting and just doing bits, just general stuff. And he's a sound guy. Do
you think he'll ever fight again?
I don't think he'll ever fight me. I don't know. I really don't know. I'd like to think he would have a bare-knuckle fight. I want to see him have a bare-knuckle fight. I think he still wants to fight UFC.
Does he?
Yeah, I believe, because his last fight was a loss, so I think he still wants to get a big fight in UFC again. And you know, whoever knows, he might fight in bare-knuckle FC. And I'd love to fight Conor McGregor. Just imagine the payday. I love the guy, but I'd love to stick it on him.
Well, you got on with Jimmy well, you still can step in the ring.
It's all business.
Would that be something you would do if Conor McGregor gave you a DM and said, Rico, let's get it on? Would you be up for that?
100, I'd be there tomorrow.
Would you?
I'd be straight there. I mean, I think he wants a world title fight, so you never know. If I win the world title, I might call him out. I might say, Conor, look, let's go. give me a payday, Conor. that would be class.
That'd be historic, that, wouldn't it?
It would be, that would be wild.
Rico Franco from Gainsborough.
We'll do it.
When you think about it, though, Conor McGregor's humble upbringing and start, you know, it's no different to your upbringing. You're starting in a place like Gainsborough, you know.
Exactly.
To think he could get onto those world stages, you're planting seeds that you're actually watering and making happen, aren't you?
Yeah.
When we spoke a year ago, since then, the things that you've done is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
You know, I'm watching you on DAZN on TV. A year ago, we was talking about, wouldn't it be great to do those things? Now you're doing those things, and now you're talking about what comes next.
Yeah.
What's the next level? Could I fight McGregor? Imagine the payday. Imagine where that'd take my family. Where could that be? And it's just constantly planting that seed, isn't it?
That's what I mean. You got to think big, because if you don't think big, you just, you know, if your dreams are like that small, but if your dreams don't scare you, I don't think they're big enough. And I 100% believe I'll fight someone like Conor McGregor one day, and I just Mike Perry or someone like that, and I just know it'll happen. I just know if I just believe it, it'll happen.
If you could make a fight now with anyone in the world in your arena, where would you fight them, and who would it be?
Conor McGregor in Dublin. That would be wild. There's a few to be fair. I'd love to fight for the world title at Madison Square Garden. That'd be my all-time arena is Madison Square or T-Mobile Arena, but Madison Square is like the classic. But the only thing is, the Athletic Commission in New York would never let me fight with my condition.
Right.
So they're really strict. So that's probably out the window, unless money talks and we could blag something. But yeah, I'd love to get a world title fight in America, or you know, fight McGregor in his back garden in Ireland. That'd be crazy. The underdog again. Where
do you think it will go with the bare knuckle then? How big do you think it will become?
So they're just growing it in Europe now, and Europe's pretty big now. They've done Marbella, Spain, and then Italy, Florence. Now they're looking at doing shows still in Italy and Spain, but they're trying to build the Europe side of things and then maybe go Europe versus America. But all the stars are in America. That, you know, that's where it originally come from. Well, it started in England, but America just pumped that much money into this show. It's massive, and yeah, the Americans are, you know, that's where all the big stars are. So they want to keep all the world champions in America, where the Europeans are coming in now. There's a lot of tough guys in Europe, so you know, we want that world title shot next.
So you'd love to fight Conor McGregor in Dublin.
Yeah.
You want to be on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Podcast, yeah.
That's what else is there on the list for you?
I'd love to fight rematch Austin Trout and beat him again. Beat him this time in a rematch. Do you know, for me, just travelling the world fighting, that was my all-time dream. years ago, like when I was working full time, I just said to myself, my dream's to get in UFC, but then things kind of changed since then, and obviously I had surgery, and then my dream was just to keep, just fight abroad, fight in Europe, America, travel the world and get paid, and that's what I'm kind of doing now. So just keep enjoying the process, enjoy the fights, and just make as much money as I can. Yeah, and come out safe at the end of it.
So if you were sat here, what's a question that you'd ask yourself that I've not asked you that you'd love to answer?
Oh, ask myself a question. When are you going to stop? Which is never. I don't like to think about it, to be fair. I mean, if you say stop, you say that to any fighter, they always retire and then come back out of retirement. So I think I'll know when the time's right is when I'm going to retire and stop. I think if I retired, that'll be it, I'd retire. But it's going to be a while yet. I've still got plenty left in the tank, definitely. Still got a lot more big fights to happen. And I love fighting. That's one thing, it's going to ruin me when I stop fighting one day, because I love it that much. It's all I know.
Well, I guess you're creating what could come next, can't you? And would you be a coach? Would you like to travel the world then with fighters being in the corner?
Yeah, definitely. So that's obviously the future plans. Obviously, do what I do in fighting. When I retire, this gym's the future. This gym is my future. So all my kids and juniors, they're my future. Obviously, the adults, they're building now, but the kids and junior, they're my future. So this is what I'm building now, and I'm actually, now I've got a bit of a break. We're coming up with a new little plan, what I'm going to be doing for boxing with the kids and stuff, and making this gym a little bit bigger. So I could do with a bigger premises, but I'm just going to build a few more things around it, and then I think next year it's going to take off even bigger. I've got plans for the gym. I've got some really good people helping me. So yeah, that's the future. I want to create champions, and we've got belts already. I've got people winning belts. We've got 5 or 6 belts in the gym. We've got a few more title fights coming up, and eventually I've got a few guys wanting to turn professional one day. So I want to get my pro license, take them on the road boxing as well. So yeah, travel the world with the fighters and train people up and be one of the best coaches I can be. I'm still learning now being a coach, because coaching is different to fighting. So that mentality. So I'm getting better every day, and just putting that time into myself, being a better coach and person.
And what's an answer to a question that you've now answered that you wish you'd have answered 20 years ago because it would have helped you? Something now that you know that you wish you'd have known back in the day?
Probably quite a lot of things. I would say, just to be fair, I've always focused on myself and all my goals, not focusing on anything else. I always say it to everyone, but I don't know really, because I've done everything I really wanted. Like, I've followed my dreams and passion. Well, I mean, a lot of times people don't focus on what they want to do and enjoy. You get distracted on other things, where ever since I left school, I've always had that focus. So I've never really done anything else. It's like, this is all I've known. Where other people, I can kind of see it, and I can bring it to the younger ones in this gym as well. But yeah, just not when times get tough, just not giving up, just throwing in the towel, because times get hard. You're just going to learn from it, and you're just going to come better. It's just, you never know how far you can push your body, but the mind's a scary thing, how much you can push your brain.
Oh, the mind's the boss, isn't it?
Yeah, it all starts from there, and it's the same as that Jimmy fight. I mean, my body felt terrible. I didn't want to be there, but if you just tell your mind and you can control your emotions, you can do whatever you want. It's scary how the brain works.
So you walk into a boxing gym.
Yeah.
You're allowed to spar with 3 fighters, boxing sparring. 3 fighters ever. Who would you love to spar with?
Oof. Joe Calzaghe, my favourite boxer. Muhammad Ali. I mean, that would be crazy to have a round with Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali, Joe Calzaghe, Jake Paul, Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Probably Mike Tyson or something. Yeah, there's 3 legends in the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd have a spar with anyone. Yeah, I'd have a fight and spar with anyone. I mean, it's just all business in this game. I love it.
And if you were sat having this conversation with, let's say, Joe Calzaghe, one of the greatest of all time, what's something you'd love to ask him?
I'd ask him, what was he doing it for, really? I'd ask him, you know, why is he doing it and what motivates him to pursue his dream. I'd say he was like 50-0 or 49-0, wasn't he? So
he had a great bond with his dad, didn't he?
Crazy, yeah.
From Wales, travelling the world.
Yeah.
The Bernard Hopkins one was an all-time great, wasn't it? When Bernard Hopkins just squared up to him and gave him a lot of hassle. And he beat him. Yeah,
he was the most underrated boxer all the time. I think he didn't get enough credit for what he's done, and absolute legend. You know, turn up to America and just smashing everyone. Roy Jones Jr. You know, he just outboxed him, and he's got a crazy journey. His dad wasn't even a boxing coach, and
really?
Played to the sound of music and rhythm. He was just playing music and just letting him flow with the music, and that's how he trained, like to the rhythm and combos. I just loved his style. It's a bit like Nate and Nick Diaz. It was just a lot of volumes of shots. I like similar style to that. I kind of do it myself a little bit. But yeah, Joe Calzaghe. I actually met him in Glasgow. I did a podcast with James English.
Yeah.
James had him on a talk, and he invited us over. Me and Danny went over. He invited us over to Glasgow. He did a little talk, and he introduced him to us, and I was buzzing.
A good friend of mine, Darren Barker, ex-world champion, good friends with Joe Calzaghe.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we could send him this clip and see if he'll answer that question.
Absolutely.
That you asked. What drove him? What inspired him? What motivated him? How did he keep going?
Yeah, he had setbacks as well, and he was, he broke his hand and he was still fighting. So that's the mindset I like. Yeah, what a guy. I love it.
But you're getting into this arena now of these people. Who'd have thought you'd been sat opposite Conor McGregor?
Yeah.
Who'd have thought Usyk and Ruiz would have been giving you the thumbs up of great fight? Rico.
Yeah.
You know, the stepping stones that you're taking are building the foundations for a phenomenal future for you, aren't they?
Absolutely, yeah. This is what it is now. Just creating a network of people, just showing people how much hard work you put in and it pays off, and just not giving up and just following your dreams, following your passion, enjoying it. I think for me, just enjoying every step of the way. I mean, I don't even, when people always go on holiday, or they have a few days off, or they have a week off, and then they'll go back to work, and they're just, I can't be asked, I don't want to go back to work. People are moaning, they don't want to go back. I love coming back here and working. I don't even class it as work. I don't even class myself having a job, because I love it that much. Every day I just love it. There's no like weekends for me. It's like every day. I just turn up here every day.
Yeah.
I love it. So for me, that's one of the main things, is just enjoying every day and just doing what I love doing every day. So I don't feel like I work a day in my life.
And a question I was going to ask is, what would be a message that you would share to the next generation of the world? And I think you've answered it there. Find something that you love and give it everything that you've got, and keep pursuing the things that you love, because 8 hours to 10 hours a day of work that you don't enjoy is tough gig, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, not many, people get used to that, and it'll just become a habit. They'll turn up, you kind of get into like a robot effect. I've been there, I've done it. I hated it, I didn't want to be there. But people don't do it about it, and you've got to just make them sacrifices. You've got to invest in yourself, and you've got to show it. I mean, if you find something you love, and people are working a normal 9-to-5 job, and they hate the job, they want to do something else, but they're too scared of doing it. I just think if you love doing something you love doing, you've got to show up every day, but you've got to put in the work, and when you put in the work, it's going to pay off. Hard work beats everything. I mean, I've done it with an illness.
Yeah.
So that's just power through in the illness, hard work every day. But I believe, if you got something you love doing, just fucking chase it and get it, 100%. You only get one life, don't you?
Yeah, and if it don't work, move on to the next thing.
Exactly. And it's, I've had that many scares and life-changing situations happen. Lost my mum, nearly died myself, and it's like these little things make you realise how precious life is. And it's just thinking of that, and it's thinking you need to enjoy it, make the most of it, and just being grateful for what you got.
Is there anything you'd like to ask me before I say my final thank yous to you for joining me today?
What motivates you every single day to wake up and pursue your dreams?
I think the opportunity to make a difference to somebody else's life certainly inspires me and motivates me. I definitely don't wake up every day full of energy, full of motivation. As soon as I get up though, and I start to have that shower or go for a walk, and I start to think about what's in front of me, it's like an injection of inspiration and energy. So no matter what challenge I face or how hard things might be at that moment, it's just a thought of where I'm going, and that really excites me, and that overrides any negative because I can overcome them because this is greater.
Yes.
And I really believe in being able to create that compelling future for yourself in your mind that inspires you that much that it just keeps you moving. And we all know the one that keeps moving gets there at some point. You might need to go different directions, but having the energy to keep moving is such an underrated gift and skill. But lots of people, me included, lots of us, we do things that take our energy away, whether that's the way that we eat, sleep, drink, or the lack of activity or exercise. Energy is a gift, and we do lots of things that sabotage the gift of energy. If we put more time into feeling better, I think we do a lot more in our lives. Because if you feel good, you hold a better conversation.
Yeah.
If you feel good when you're in the queue in the coffee shop, you have a conversation with a person to the left, to the right, rather than staring at your phone because you're not in a great state.
Yeah.
You put more effort into more that you do when you know that that conversation could change the whole life for you too. You might meet someone in that coffee shop and you have a conversation with them, it could change everything. But if you're not in a good energy state, you don't have the conversation. I think it starts for me, focus on my energy. If my energy is good, I can make anything else happen.
Yes.
So my inspiration comes from just loving the fact that something I could say or do in that moment could have a great impact on your day. That's where it starts, and everything builds from that. And I come out of 2 schools the other day on Monday. I've had so many messages from just doing 2 60-minute conversations. And I say conversations because I like to call it a conversation, not a speech. I like to talk with them. The amount of messages I've had from them young kids has blown my mind. It's an injection of even more energy to do more and create more. Because sometimes when it's tough, you think, is it worth it what I'm doing? And then the messages come through and you're like, it definitely is. Because kids writing to you to share that they nearly took their own lives a couple of years ago, but a friend of theirs called them up when they were in that process, and just to know that their friend was there for them, it stopped them doing it. And to thank me for coming in and sharing a few words, and not thanking me for what happened previous, but they're just telling me they want to share it because we want to talk, but we ain't got anywhere to go.
Yeah.
So when that kid sends me a message the other day and says, Luke, just want you to know I nearly took my life 2 years ago, and a friend contacted me while I was in that moment, and because they contacted me, I felt that they cared about me, so I didn't do it. And I just want you to know I really enjoyed you coming into my school, and they shared some kind words. So people are going through such tough stuff. And me, if one person like me can have a conversation with one person in your boxing gym after this, and that one person leaves with a bit more energy, I feel that it's worth me doing that talk. Absolutely. And having that conversation.
Yeah.
So that fills my energy up. And meeting people like you, you know, what a dream for me to sit opposite someone like you. I'm definitely a fan of yours. I'm watching you on telly. Do you know what I mean? I'm like shouting at the TV, and the next minute I'm sat in here having a bit of pad work with you, having a bit of fun and having conversations with you. So I just love great people like you, and you certainly are one of them. I see you as a really great friend, even though I've known you for 12 months. I feel really connected to you, and I admire you for all that you've done and all that you're going to do, and I'm privileged to know you and be a part of that journey, and I'll keep supporting you all the way, like all those other sponsors on your t-shirts, mate. I'm a real big supporter of you, and I wish you well in whatever you do next, and let's keep connected. And thanks for coming on the From Nowhere to Somewhere podcast for the Trilogy.
What a guy. Absolutely.
Appreciate it, mate. Well done.
This guy's good on pads as well. I've took him on pads and he can bang.
I need a bit of practice. I'm going to start coming. I'm going to come.